All the world has fallen to Kairos.
All the
and
world.
now the Overlord's
Except for this
eye is
little
on the
part.
Tears.
For some reason.
Our home.
Saved it for last.
The last
No real
corner
good
of the
explanation.
world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tearsmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tears sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
During the Conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tears, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tears respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. Well, what are the odds of that? Not your decisions mattering, I mean the choosing wisely. It's Obsidian. I know my decisions will matter. This time... The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tears. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tears, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the Tears. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Gates of Judgment. In the first major engagement of the war, Kairos' armies crossed the mountains and established a foothold, or infiltrate the Tears. Both armies sent their forces to prepare the way. I'll travel with the main army, thanks. The armies of Kairos took battle to the Gates of Judgment, trumpeting the opening call of the Conquest of the Tears. The two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited your strengths. Can't I just wait in the camp? Standing shield to shield with Kairos' ironclad elite, standing in the back, you advance on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the Bastard City. The Legion wanted to send a message to Tears that superior breeding and disciplined training would win the day. Bastard City learned too late that a military is earned and never bought. The mercenary army quickly found themselves outclassed by the superior tactics and formation of the Disfavored. Those few who lived to the end of the battle were rounded up, the weak executed, and the strong enslaved to haul the army's wagons on the journey south. To judge the enemy, or defeating the host. Or to judge the enemy, enslave the enemy, conscript the enemy. Alright. Yeah, logistics is somebody else's problem. Alright. Well, seeing how the enemy is mostly mercenaries, you give the prisoners a chance to save in Kairos' army or die. The Scarlet Chorus was in need of extra troops to fill up the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy those slots nicely. They're former mercenaries. It's almost a traditional way to deal with mercenaries. You arm cooperative ex-soldiers with scrap weapons and toss them into the vanguard of the next Scarlet Chorus assault. Those who survived were welcome to take up the arms and armor of the fallen and eke out a desperate struggle to survive in Kairos' military. After their first victory, you rewarded the new recruits with the opportunity to execute their wounded or reluctant countrymen. The armies of Kairos massed around the Bastard City, the first bastion of the Tears to fall. Both armies longed to storm the walled outpost, the Scarlet Chorus howling for plunder and the Disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Your prowess on the field of battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Both of the armies had inspired schemes to take the Bastard City. Which did you support? Assault on the main gates. Yeah, that's inspired. Burn the city. Sabotage the city's defenses. You led a mixed band of Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus scouts over the city walls to sabotage its defenses. I guess I'm getting a new ability because of this. Though it was challenging to earn the cooperation of both armies, their shared interest in taking down the city defenses allowed your scouts to work as a single unit. Once your forces scaled the walls, a mixture of tactics and savagery destabilized the city guard, who quickly lost their command over the defenses and were forced to surrender. Lacking the support of archers' siege weapons, the bastard city fell quickly to Kairos' superior might. The bastard city settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered alongside the rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunan sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. I like the overseer part. That implies I get a big cushy desk job, or at least what's close to cushy in this world. How vain do you have to be that even the little tool to push the icons onto the map has the Imperial logo on it? Just saying. I mean, I know it's a mold, I know they just cast them by the hundreds, but damn. Years ago, Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of the ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant that caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. That's our town motto, you know. We thrive in modest insignificance. Lethian's Crossing drew Kairos' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kairos' control, the northern smith mages could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tunan dispatched you to travel alongside Kairos' forces and bring order to the region. Cult of Tyranny. The iron must flow. Let's check it out. Siren, Archon of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kairos' army. As a patroness of the Scarlet Chorus, her efforts were critical to the conscription of new recruits. When an enthralled, disfavored soldier joined her cult, his company feared that the Archon was growing out of control and needed to be stopped. Oh, destroying it. No, that's overkill. In Scarlet Chorus tradition, you sent the latest batch of cultists to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Those who survived were welcome to remain in Kairos' military, and their performance would stand as testimony to Siren's effectiveness. The Scarlet Chorus agreed to transfer Siren's latest recruits to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Your resolution fit their traditional model of conscription, so they considered it a fair alternative. In the weeks to come, more of them returned to active duty than even Siren herself expected, likely owing to their obsessive devotion to the Archon and her enchanting music. To be in love must be the sweetest feeling. Okay. A red anvil. A forge-bound maid swore allegiance to the Scarlet Chorus, creating strife between the armies, or ancient threats. Huh. This one sounds interesting. Who protected the city from the attacks of arcane predators? Drawn to the arcane energy around the forges, mystical predators from the nearby old walls began to raid Lethian's Crossing at all hours. Both of Kairos' armies reserved their strength for the front lines of the war, and yet the city required protection. You had to delegate the responsibility somewhere. Well, responsibility doesn't really seem like the Red Chorus's anarchic ways, so my go-to guys are the... What? No, I didn't. Oh, haha. Since the disfavored used most of the iron that came out... What? You're switched... I understand what you're doing there, but damn. So the button is, who are you in favor of? Or who are you benefiting? Not... Yeah, that's backwards. Since disfavored used most of the iron that came out of Lethian's Crossing, it fell to them to stand as the city's vigilant protectors. The Scarlet Chorus enjoyed a necessary reprieve. Though the disfavored were averse to your ruling, they couldn't argue with the reasoning behind it. They rallied in the streets of Lethian's Crossing, patrolling on alert in shifts that lasted day and night in an impressive show of force. They managed to repel several attacks from the Predators in districts that would have otherwise suffered great harm. Able to do some good, the disfavored still detested you for keeping them from the battle with their real enemy in the Tiers. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the Voices in Arat injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kairos' more responsible servants. Only a token garrison could be left behind while the armies returned to the front. As the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasing tension and hostility towards each other, Tunon decreed it best only one force control the crossing. Again, they get most of the iron, they get control. The disfavored placed a modest garrison in the settlement of Lethian's Crossing. Though the force was larger than might be needed to police the small settlement, protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defense force, as these magical craftsmen kept the disfavored invasion force suited in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of Lethian's Crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. You received word from Graven Ash thanking you for your decision. The forge-bound and their weaponry could not be entrusted to the Voices of Nerat. With the mercenaries expelled and Lethian's Crossing under new leadership, Kairos' forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlement and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of this diversion, the army front advanced further into the Tiers. Your skills were needed in the Realm of Azur, Stalwart, or the Vellum Citadel. The Vellum Citadel was a library fortress, the largest archive of the written word in the Tiers. The School of Ink and Quill protected and maintained the archive of ancient lore for centuries, standing apart from the political upheavals of the younger realms as an enduring pillar of knowledge and culture. Yeah, man, we gotta preserve that sheesh. The Vellum Citadel was an archive... No, it's not the same one. Okay. And library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that, centuries ago, carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by the other major realms. Legend said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. I don't know, I'm already getting in good with Siren. Let's go work with this. Siren, Archon of Song, used her power to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the Citadel walls. After Kairos' forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge, a crime under Kairos' law, with the Scarlet Chorus. Sure. It is Kairos' law. You calm the disfavored with a compromise. The sages' mouths would be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. As the disfavored fitted the sages with their restraining masks, the Scarlet Chorus openly criticized the suppression of enemy intelligence. You gave the soldiers a stern lesson on Kairos' laws and the sensitive treatment of forbidden knowledge, but that didn't stop the whispering and rumors that the Conquest was being mismanaged. Right of command. Spymaster's agents. Do I want more Siren or not? Okay. A group of enemy mages surrendered to the disfavored, claiming to be spies loyal to the Voices in Arat. No one in the army could verify the claim. The disfavored readied to interrogate the mages, but the Scarlet Chorus protested, demanding that the prisoners be given to their custody. They couldn't risk the Voices in Arat's secrets falling into the wrong hands. I'm down. You ignored the disfavored threats, sharply reminding them they marched at Kairos' orders and not their own whims. The mages were released into the custody of the Scarlet Chorus. The Scarlet Chorus accepted the mages into their company with gratitude. After secreting them Within tents and out of earshot, you presume a discussion or interrogation followed. When asked about it the following day, the Scarlet Chorus admitted they sent the mages to the Voices of Nerat with an escort, dispatching them under cover of night without due authorization. You reprimanded the soldiers for keeping you out of the loop, but there was naught else to be done on the matter. The Edict of Fire. Food and morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire on the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it, the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. We want the tomes. We want the knowledge in there, don't we? Claiming they still had spies within the Citadel, Scarlet Chorus urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace and warned them of their doom, giving the Chorus spies and the enemy a chance to run. You confronted the mages with a warning and hoped the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the Citadel. As the sun dipped under the horizon, you read the words of the edict. The earth shook and red-orange light glowed in the foundation of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force, gushing from windows and between loose bricks, melting winding trenches in the surrounding land. Days later, the flames still raged on, the conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. That could have went better. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life. But a message had been sent. The Overlord would not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as you journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks dwarfed by the inferno, the last gasps of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. Alright, and away we go. I'm probably going to break here, so I hope you stay with me. Hope this is going to be entertaining. We'll take a quick glance. For those of you who hadn't played it, this has the same, I believe it's built on the same engine as their most recent Pillars of Eternity.
Invasion has shattered all major opposition in the Tiers. The younger realms,
some of the hardcore tactical guys, again, I haven't dug too deep because I wanted very few spoilers. I wanted to come in cold. I wanted to discover this together with you all.
The two armies of the Overlord.
So, some of the hardcore strategists, I heard something about how it's a little less
our lands.
Crunchy, a little easier, there's no friendly fire, that kind of thing, than Pillars of Eternity, but that the writing is excellent. These are mostly just off of the first few reviews. Again, I glanced at the reviews to make sure I wasn't buying a lemon, but I didn't want to dig deep.
But our will is not yet extinguished.
Boom, headshot.
Entirely. In the valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling
to
wait a minute.
Who the hell
have banded together.
Who the hell threw a javelin through an iron helmet, both sides of an iron helmet, and a guy's head?
We have staged a
from up there.
Uprising. Murdering the
that better be a ballistable,
Scarlet Chorus garrison,
because I'm not buying it otherwise.
Midnight assault.
Also, there's an awful lot of left-handed soldiers here. That's just unusual.
With their main forces spread across the Tiers, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle.
Now, mind you, that looks far more like Greek armor, so it could be leather.
We bide our time.
There's no way you're pushing that through both sides and the guy
to spread
without something seriously powerful behind it.
The Overlord is not amused. And Kairos has one message for the Archons. Crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict. A magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you.